Osimhen at some point has been linked with Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres has been linked with Arsenal.
Dusan Vlahovic also.
Even Česko, Dusan Vlahovic, even Česko, who has now signed a new contract with RB Leipzig. I mean, all of these guys. Are you telling me that there's no one person out of those players that fits into the profile of the team? And many of these guys, if you want to check their buyout clause, it's as little as £50 million. Is that what Arsenal can afford? I just think it's stubborn. That's it.
Okay. If you think they've got a game against Wolves at the Molineux on Saturday 4 p.m. and we wait to see maybe those makeshift strikers, those strikers you mentioned in Kai Havertz, in Leandro Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli, who is again is that rank now and they can
Butler.
Butler. Who is Butler again? And that one
is Butler.
Okay.
Come on. Academy players.
No. Is the name coming from SAMIES? So that is one. On the other hand, also, Blessing, don't forget, and SAMIES, I'd like you to say something about this. The big game on Saturday will be Chelsea away from home against Manchester City. Let's take a listen to the voice of Enzo Maresca, because for Maresca, I don't know how he gets to do this live here. He plays one game, he's out injured for a while, and the news around Garnacho joining Chelsea also, you begin to ask questions about what would Chelsea do with Garnacho, with the Jadon Sancho, with Pedro Neto, with João Felix, Noni Madueke. You can go home with the names and you begin to say Garnacho, Enzo Maresca.
Available this weekend?
Probably Levi and Enzo, they could be available, depends on today's session, and Romeo will be out.
In terms of Romeo, how long do you think he may be out for now?
We don't know yet. We need to wait a little bit more, but at least I think a few weeks more.
All right, so SAMIES.
Well, I don't know how Chelsea Football Club they found themselves in this situation, or I would say Romeo Lavia, because I saw him with Southampton. He was maybe almost available for them in their games while they were fighting for survival. That's in the English Premier League 2 seasons ago. But now he's a man who definitely, like you said, gets a play one and gets injured for like 3-4 games. But that is not the best solution for Chelsea Football Club now, because you look at the middle of their field. Who is that player to be trusted? Moises Caicedo. He is not the same player who started the season, because
but he's been good this season so far.
He's been good. His performance in recent games, it has declined. And for Enzo Fernandez, who definitely picked form in that's at the right time. I think he has also been a great addition to the midfield again, but he's also injured, so we don't know how Chelsea will definitely fare against the Manchester City. Remember that they lost by 2-0 at the Bridge to the hands of that's Manchester City. That's in the first game of the season, but we don't know how they are going to I don't know, approach the game later tomorrow.
So, Blessing, what do you see in that one? You think Chelsea can inflict more defeats on City? Yes, we know they won their few games before the defeat they suffered in Paris against Paris Saint-Germain earlier in the week.
Yeah, before I come to that game, I just wanted to touch on the transfer stream. You talked about Chelsea wanting Alejandro Garnacho at some point, and I'm just thinking to myself, at this point, it's not Djokovic that is doing Chelsea. Because you have this number of players that many of us have forgotten. For instance, you mentioned João Felix, and I just couldn't remember. João Felix still plays as Chelsea. I mean, you have these big name players that you sign, and then they are struggling to find playing time, struggling to find form, because the manager decided this is just one player I want to keep playing. I get it. It will be very hard for any player to dismiss a Cole Palmer in that team, but you have a lot of players, but you have not been able to really know this is what works. This is what starting 11 can work for me. But I do feel like in that game against Manchester City, it might be a chance for Chelsea to avenge that defeat, that 2-0 defeat they suffered at Stamford Bridge. But it may also not be a right time for them, seeing that City look like a team that is beginning to return to form. I think they've won 3 games back to back now, which is like the first time since maybe September or October, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it only just proves that it's going to be a very tough one. But City as well, they have to be very careful. They have to be watchful, because they are beginning to be a run of like 6 games against the top 6 sides in the Premier League. So maybe a few faltering here and there for them. But at the end of the day, it's a question of how many points they can pick from those games.
Manchester City are also in for it. Their next 3 games.
After Chelsea,
they play Club Brugge, and then they'll play Arsenal.
Yeah, they play Arsenal. Yeah.
All right. So don't forget, guys, that the MPFL also will be back on Saturday, and then games on Sunday. Nasarawa play against Katsina United. Rangers against Tornadoes of Mina. Sunshine Stars against Korodi United. Abia Warriors will play against Bayelsa. And then before we go, both Blessing and SAMIES, there's Napoli against Juventus Football Club on Saturday in Naples. That should be an interesting one, Blessing, in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And for Juventus, they've been this draw soup team. This season.
13 draws.
The man must like Ogbono soup.
I mean, I'm telling you, they're still unbeaten. But
What's that unbeaten when you don't even win? Why not go lose half and win half?
What you're doing is drawing games. I think it will be a very, very difficult, very tough game for them. So maybe this is the time that Napoli puts an end to that unbeaten nonsense.
Okay.
And them their defeat.
All right. So thank you so much, Blessing, for your time. Hopefully we can do a recap of all of these. No, kind of do a review of all of these when we come next week Monday.
Yes, Def. Thank you for having me.
All right. So there you have it for this Friday edition of Scoreboard in Reloaded. I've done this with SAMIES. I am Peter Almond. Coming up on the hour will be the news for 4, and then we'll have some good music for you as you go home for between 4:15 and 5. And Crystal and his team will be here from 5 to 6 for Iggy. And then you listen to Baba. What's his name now? What's up, Nigeria? Wait, Afonda will be here 6 to 7 for that interesting edition of his show.